Boxing truth here. Let's talk about Mikey Garcia. The hype job that got a gift decision against Lipinets. Vacated his strap. Decided not to fight Baranchak as a mandatory title defense. And instead took a fight with Robert Easter Jr. in the unification by a lightweight. And what's going to be a battle between two frauds. One's a fraud at junior welterweight, one's a fraud at lightweight. But this fight represents the direction of where Mikey Garcia's career is going to go after this. I envision this fight being the last for Mikey Garcia at this weight. Yeah, of course, there's a fight with Lomachenko right there. There's a possibility that Mikey could go in that direction. But it just seems like Mikey would rather take an L to Errol Spence than to take one to Lomachenko. And that's pretty much the direction, perhaps, of where Mikey's going to go in his career if he's successful against Robert Easter Jr. later this year, next month, on July 28th at the Staples Center. As far as the fight itself between Mikey and Easter, it's a decent fight. It's not the worst fight in the world. I'm not all that excited about it. It doesn't really interest me that much. It's two frauds. One of them's a fraud at lightweight, which is Easter. Got gift decisions on more than one occasion. Decent fighter. Tall, tough. Got some dog in him. But he doesn't use his advantages, doesn't use his physical advantages, likes to get in the trenches and likes to get on the inside and do some damage. That could be a mistake against Mikey Garcia. But I envision Mikey having a more tougher test, a more tougher fight than many will expect in this fight against Easter, because Mikey showed his flaws in this last fight. He can get tagged a lot. He can get tagged cleanly. And you never know. If Easter can land that good right hand of his, perhaps he can do some damage. But Mikey's very experienced. He took some really harsh shots against Lipinets, who I feel is a better fighter than Easter. So it's a good stay busy fight for Mikey. A fight against a tall lightweight but doesn't really use his advantages will present opportunities for Mikey to counter, since Easter likes to come forward and try to get on the inside. And I don't expect Easter to change his style for one fight. I don't expect him to just fight on the back foot. I don't expect him to use his range. I don't expect him to use his distance. So this is careful matchmaking here for Mikey. He wouldn't have took this fight if he didn't think he could win it. But you had to sense that Mikey is perhaps most likely not going to stay in the lightweight division. Will not have had the big significant fight again in another division. And this has been the norm for Mikey Garcia. I mean, Lipinets is the best fighter he's fought. And it's a career dating back to what? Over a decade now? Ducked Gamboa for a career high payday. Didn't fight Crawford, didn't fight Lomachenko, didn't fight Manny Pacquiao, which is the fights with what have happened had he stayed with Top Rank. But he made his choice, and so far the choice has panned out. He's getting paid good. He's getting, good solid fights, but not the type of fights that really can build him to a next level. The Broner fight was, a good showcase for him. Lipinets was a good accomplishment on his mantle, becoming a 4-division champion. But I saw him get his ass whooped in that fight. I saw him get chipped up by Lipinets. And you look at his overall resume, his overall career, it's very disappointing. It's very somewhat disappointing. Not getting the big fights at 130, not getting the biggest fights to be made at 126. taking over a decade to finally have a unification bout, which is in the lightweight division. This is going to be his first unification bout ever, and it's taken him this long to get at the stage, and it's going to take him even longer to get a more bigger, significant fight, the type of fight that we want to see him in, against the Lomachenkos or a Crawford or a more recognized elite talent, pound for pound talent. Easter's not the fight that's going to do it for him, but it's another accomplishment, another world title on the line. It should be a decent fight. I expect a hard-fought battle and a more tougher than expected fight than most will predict it for Mikey in this Easter Junior fight. But if he gets past this assignment, don't expect Mikey to stick around at lightweight. It's going to be too difficult to put the Lomachenko fight together. Aram's not going to bend over backwards. He's not going to take any shit from Mikey. He's going to give him a number. He doesn't agree. They're going to move the fuck on. There's other opponents out there for Lomachenko anyways. So I expect Mikey to beat Easter Jr. later this year in a hard-fought fight, possibly by decision. He finally becomes a unified champion, and instead of taking an L to Lomachenko, he's instead going to take an L to Errol Spence Jr. instead. That's probably going to be Mikey's biggest fight that he could get on his side. It's a more makeable, more doable fight. There's no big names at 40. Now that he got the win over Lipinets. So that's the end game here. A fight with Errol Spence, a guy that comes forward, that's going to present some counterpunch opportunities. The question is, can Mikey put a dent in Errol Spence? Does he have the power? Does he have the physicality to withstand that onslaught, that body attack, the jab that Errol Spence presents in his fights? It might be just too much of a tall order for him. But Mikey's going to get paid handsomely for that fight. He might as well get the same figure if he was to fight Lomachenko. So instead of taking an L to Lomachenko, he would rather take an L to Errol Spence Jr. in a fight that's more makeable, more easy to make, in a fight where we'll get to see how good Mikey Garcia really is. In a fight that he'll be considered a prohibitive underdog against a much bigger fighter who still has a lot to prove and a lot to accomplish in Errol Spence Jr. If he takes that fight, so be it. But I already know how good Mikey Garcia is. And from my eyes, from my view, from my point of view, he just hasn't shown it. That he can move up 2 divisions and beat a physical fighter like Errol Spence. But if he's going to take on a welterweight, that's the best style for him to take, an aggressive guy that's going to present opportunities. But Mikey ain't on that level. He's no Manny Pacquiao. I wouldn't pick him to beat Lomachenko, and I don't think he's good enough to beat an Errol Spence Jr. His career is what it is. Good, but not great. Good, but not an elite fighter. Overrated. Just another hype job. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.